So this isn't really any kind of big video, but I did just watch 10 Gokaiger and I am flipping out because it is so wow. It's amazing. I mean, it's not perfect, but there's just so much in it that I was crying fanboy tears the entire time. So I wanted to talk about some things that I caught in 10. Hi Brandon. Brandon says hi. In 10 Gokaiger that you may or may not have caught yourself. So number one, so Joe and Luca are basically using wildly different flintlocks here, kind of suggesting that they are not currently connected to Marvelous. Now I'm not going to talk about the major plot points as much as I can, although, you know, moving forward, I feel like I should say spoiler alert. I mean, if you did click this, I guess that's already kind of a given. You should have kind of already seen the Raw or the DVD if you're watching this, right? Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna be talking about stuff in the Raw, so it's mostly visual. I did hear some stuff, but there's probably gonna be a part 2 to this once the subs come out. I don't know who's doing the subs though. But yeah, so the suggestion here is that they're not connected to Marvelous at all. That's what we're getting kind of a vibe of, which is a little bit similar to Superhero Tyson, which is, I hear one of the major complaints of the fans, that it feels like a similar story, but you know, since having the two side by side, I would say that it's different enough. Okay, so what's happening here is kind of that there's a sanctioned ring match between Rangers of different teams, and it's literally sanctioned by the Ministry of Defense, and it's actually televised, and there are legal bets. Like if you have like legal gambling in your country, that's kind of like that. Okay, so yeah, it's overseen by the Ministry of Defense, but the thing is, the Rangers here are not actual Rangers, but they're just summoned by the Ranger keys. So yeah, it's basically done by this contraption that the Ministry of Defense has, which is attached to Basco's flute. So there's our first callback. So Basco's flute is able to summon Rangers by using Ranger keys. So these are basically soulless representations of the Rangers. They're not, you know, there's nobody piloting them. They're just, you know, power sets. That's pretty much all they are. Now, another cool thing that I noticed about this series, I'm pretty sure you guys caught it. The kids and some of the citizens were reading this book, which is actually the Super Sentai 45th Anniversary Encyclopedia. I want one. It's really it kind of made big news early on this year because it has really great art, and it's definitely a must for Super Sentai collectors. That is a real book. You might want to chase it. What is happening to Brandon? He's not usually this lovey-dovey. But yeah, okay. Another cool fun factoid. The announcer for the battle is actually the voice of the Mobilites, which is Tomokazu Seki. He provided a lot of voices in Super Sentai over the years, but the most notable is, of course, the Mobilites. So yeah, that's pretty awesome, right? Now, let's talk about the commentators. They're actually Kei Hosogai and Hiroya Matsumoto. Kei Hosogai is actually Basco the Tajolokia in Gokaiger. And Hiroya Matsumoto played several characters over the course of Super Sentai, but most notably he played Rangers Beatbuster in Go Busters and Magi Yellow in Magi Ranger. We'll get back to them again in a bit, but there is a fun bit in the movie where Hiroya's character sees other Ranger Key clones beat up on his characters and he kind of cries about it. So yeah. For K, there is also a fun little Easter egg, a callback to his character from the series, where he has a pet slash partner named Sally. So he's always seen clutching this monkey plush animal in the movie. Okay, so yeah. Now, so Don Dogier, or Doc, he arrives on Earth, and there are notably no new teams as of the moment operating on Earth. This is very similar to how it was in Uchu Sentai Q Ranger versus Space Squad and Go Onger Grand Prix 10 years after, which is basically, you know, they were able to do this because the Rangers the Rangers show at the time had the Rangers off-world or doing something else, so they can world build using Rangers of old. This time we're using Gokaiger and the entirety of the 44 Super Sentai, 45 if you count that Ranger, before them. So yeah. Now, yeah, it's a little bit like that. It's a little bit like the Shattered Grid storyline in Power Rangers comics, because the way Zenkaiger did it is they're kind of doing their own thing with their Sentai worlds, where everything is under. They're kind of in concurrent timelines, but different worlds. That's kind of how they're doing it over there in Zenkaiger. So Zenkaiger is what is a lot like Shattered Grid, whereas we are just continuing what has been established in the last few years before Zenkaiger came along and kind of ruined everything. Or I don't know how you view it, to be honest. And to be honest, we don't know either. It's been almost a year. We'll let you know once we have a clearer view of what Zenkaiger is actually trying to do with their narrative. But yeah, the first battle we see is a battle of ninjas, and while 3 of them are super obvious, so the Shurikenger from Hurricaneger, Ninja White from Kaku Ranger, and Aka Ranger from Ninja, you also have one that's kind of a not a deep cut, but if you remember the show, you'll remember the Dyna Black Ryu Hoshikawa is actually a ninja himself. So he's not a ninja themed ranger, but he is a ninja. So the 4 of them are battling it out. Now, Marvelous has a bounty on his head again, but this time it seems like it's Earth that has it out for him, which is, different. Usually it's a bunch of aliens. So that's interesting. But we'll see as the movie goes along that it's not really Earth that has it out for him as well. So yeah, that's just a fun Easter egg. Of course, the wanted posters are kind of a staple for any good pirate show, I would say. So yeah. And Marvelous crashes on a pod that still has a pirate sail and a wheel. It reminds me kind of like the Kryptonian pods, but somehow, I'm not saying it's a reference to Kryptonian pods, okay? Let me just be clear. I know people like to do that on Old Ranger Wiki. We don't do that anymore. But it's basically a pod, a space pod with sails, and a pirate ship wheel, an old style wheel. I don't know, the name escapes me, but you know what wheel I'm talking about, right? So there you go. Now, there don't appear to be any Zenkaigers in the Super Sentai battle poster at all. So, yeah, let's just there's no Zenkaigers anywhere here. Like, don't expect any Zox cameo or any Zenkaiser or Zenkaiger cameos anywhere here. There's nothing to be found. An all-animal Sentai battle happens when Volshark from Sun Vulcan and Gao Shark from Gao Ranger are pit together in a set of animal rangers. The rest of them seem to be kind of random, with Terra Ranger and Yellow Lion Geki Red. But it's just cool to see them go head to head like that. But if you see a pattern there, let me know. I mean, there probably is. You know Gokaiger. There's always a pattern, right? I'm probably just missing it. Now, it's just something to mention when Guy sees Don or Doc. He does kind of show off his guns. So that's nice. That's nice for him. Now, Don will be constantly asked for his Ranger key all throughout the movie. It's kind of not a running gag, but it's a thread throughout the movie, which you'll see later on why he doesn't have it and why he keeps brushing it off. Now, one interesting thing, part of the world building, is that Ahim is seen to be friends with Kiramai Silver, Takamichi Crystalia. And Navi has been living on Earth and he's kind of been pulling a Sechan in the Super Sentai battle. He's just been announcing and flitting around the screen. So yeah. Why are you so lonely, darling, today? Yeah. This is Brandon. He's a rescue. Okay, so yeah, Don watches some Super Sentai battles, and I think he actually bets on them. And there appears to be a pattern with most of them. So, like, for example, one of them is a Car Ranger themed battle between Turbo Red and Pink Racer. And another one with light themed Rangers, which are Blue Mask and Blue Flash. And there's another one which is kind of a reach, but it's kind of a Predator themed sword fight between Kyoryu Green and Ginga Yellow. Now, earlier I mentioned that Hiroya's characters, Beatbuster and Magi Yellow, got beat up by a couple of other Ranger Key Summons right now. Those Ranger Key Summons are actually Kenji Oba's characters. Kenji Oba's like legend in Super Sentai. And he played Battle Kenya and Denji Blue. So those characters kind of beat up on Magi Yellow and Beatbuster. It's funny. So yeah, there's another fun throwback to a Gokaiger episode where two gold guys with kanji on their faces fight, which is Shinken Gold and King Ranger. So they fight, but then they get interrupted by another dude with a kanji on his forehead of all places, not like on his face like these other two guys. It's 5 black. Yes, it's 5 black with a kanji of language, if I'm not mistaken, on his forehead. So yeah, Don gets a little annoyed with that. Now, another thing is when Marvelous is pitted against the Ranger Key Summons, he goes up some pretty heavy hitters, but they seem to be random to me. But if you see a pattern, please let me know. But the first one is awesome because it's Black Condor. And then he goes up against, a bunch of core Rangers from different older Sentai series, ones that have been featured in Gokaiger. But then he goes up against a couple of 6th Rangers, which were never, which came after Gokaiger, which is specifically Tokyo 6 Go and Kirame Silver. So those two. Tokyo 6 Go, he had a Ranger Key in the Rainbow Edition, but Kirame Silver doesn't have a Ranger Key. This is what I'm super excited about because Kirame Red rather is about to be released this December with a bunch of other Super Sentai teams. Super Sentai Reds to be exact. But no core Rangers, no 6th Rangers. But then you see a Kirame Silver Ranger Key. And I understand that it's probably because Takamichi is there in the movie. But that gives me hope for more Ranger Keys. That's what I hope, to be honest. So that's what I'm excited about. I hope it's a sign that P Bandai is going to keep making new keys. Now, okay, so going back to what I said earlier, that while the plot is a bit of a rehash from Superhero Tyson, rather, it does differ in one major way. In that Guy is actually a major active participant in everything that goes on, and he actually goes head to head with Captain Marvelous. But he still does that thing. It's kind of a thing that he does where he throws the keys to the core Rangers, right? He still does that. It's another nice callback to the series. Now, when Ahim comes in, everyone has like a unique new style for this movie, which is a really nice update for everyone. But Ahim comes in, and she comes in this pirate/princess ensemble, and it's awesome. And she is badass. She's still my favorite Gokaiger until now. She's basically Bruce Wayne, to be honest. I'll be happy to explain that in another video if you guys want me to do that, but to me, she's basically Bruce Wayne of the Gokaiger family. Early Bruce Wayne, of course. Now, she is not one to be messed with, I'll tell you that. Now, the keys on the contraption, I have yet to get the name of the contraption, but they aren't necessarily by color. I mean, if you look at them in one glance, you might be going, okay, it looks like it's red, blue, yellow, pink, green. Which is, by the way, not the usual color. It's usually red, blue, yellow, green, pink. But the last two are reversed. It's not by actual color, it's by the users. So people who have been following the Gokai changes in the past 10 years are gonna be getting a kick out of this, because you will be seeing the keys in whoever uses them most. So for example, you'll see a lot of black keys with Dawn's set, of course, but you will see a couple of black keys in Ahim's set as well, because you know she uses Abare Black, she uses Go on Black, so you know there's a little bit of a mix, like on especially in the lower two parts. Now we don't really see any special rows, so there's only 5 rows. There's not a special 6th row of ranger keys in any discernible area in the contraption, and I'm guessing it's to make it look more cohesive, because yeah, it's gonna look really lopsided if they put the 6th rangers there. Because this is how it goes. It's basically one panel is Go Ranger to Mask Man, another panel is Live Man to Ginga Man, another panel is Gokaiger to Shinkenger, and another panel is Gokaiger to, I assume, Lupat and Kira Major. So that's basically what you're seeing. No Zenkaiger, nowhere. So I'm assuming that there's no Zenkaiger anywhere in that contraption. You won't see it. The thing is that you don't really see that there's no Zenkaiger, but you can kind of assume it, because each row has basically 11 teams. No, not. Well, yeah, 11 teams in columns. They do kind of cheat in one. I will tell you guys which one they cheat in. But essentially, it's 11 teams, and then there's 4 panels, so basically 44 teams. You're probably like, X, but you know, 45 is Zenkaiger. Yes, but Lupin Ranger and Pat Ranger are actually 2 separate teams, right? So there's that. Yeah, so, and also there's no Gokaiger. So that's another thing that I wanted to mention. It's very clear that there's no Gokaiger. There's actually a clear break. One panel ends with Shinkenger, and then another panel starts with Gokaiger and then proceeds onwards without anyone else. Without the Gokaigers, rather, I mean. So yeah, you are super distracting. He's usually super quiet. I guess he just really wants to be in the video and show how much of a loving best friend he is. I don't know. Maybe that's why. Okay, so going back. Yeah, okay, so interesting thing. For the shot where Time Fire is summoned, his key is right next to Time Red. It's kind of a cheat, because remember when I told you there's supposed to be just 11 teams, 11 columns. He's kind of, him and Time Red are kind of squeezed into one section, and then the Time Fire key just disappears. Did I say Time Fire, Time Red? Time Fire is squeezed in with Time Red, and it disappears when he's called into action. Now, yeah, I kind of want that contraption. It's like a nice little organized table where I can display all my keys. But yeah, okay, so perhaps the biggest thing though about 10 Gokaiger is it answers a burning question from way back in episode 2 of the series 10 years ago. Can you imagine? Now it turns out that the kid that stole the Shinken Red key from episode 2 is now the same scientist who is involved in the infighting in the ministry. So the younger dude, his name is actually Newano, and Marvelous remembers him, and it's awesome. It's awesome. Now the thing is, he's now played by Kaisei Kawano. He's no longer played by Daichi Izumi, and I can only speculate, but my speculation is they didn't get Daichi Izumi because he looks exactly like he did 10 years ago. So if they got Daichi Izumi, the moment he comes on screen, everyone's gonna go, oh, okay, I know what they're trying to go for. But the thing is, they reintroduced him in the middle of the movie, so it would kind of be a spoiler if they got the same guy. You know what I mean? So that's probably why they decided to recast him, even if the actor is actually like I heard 4 or 5 years younger than Daichi, which is funny. But yeah, okay. So yeah, one more fun thing I noticed, I don't know if it's just me, but Luca burst into the ministry as like kind of a vlogger, YouTuber kind of girl. And am I crazy or am I getting some Yui vibes? Sorry, Ui, not Yui. Some Ui vibes. And it's just like, just the way she was acting, it was very Ui. Played by the late Mana Kinjo in Ryu Soldier. She really just outs the ministry very publicly in this YouTube style way, but she broadcasts like on every frequency, of course, not on just on YouTube. She basically borrows a relic from Takamichi to use from Crystalia. So it's a relic on loan from Crystalia, and it's basically what reveals the monster form. Fun fact, she actually basically sold them her Gokai key, Ranger key, as a ruse. Yes. Okay. Early on in the movie. So what ends up happening is she actually has the Gokai green key, and that's what she transforms with. And it's interesting because we did get a Green Ranger just a couple of years ago in Kirame Green, right? So that's fun. Fun seeing another main core Green Ranger. Now, of course, Doc ends up using Luca's key. Now, Yellow Rangers and Gokaiger specifically tend to be female, not for any gender reasons other than it's because Luca is the primary user. So whether the original user is male, it ends up, with a skirt or in a female costume. But yeah, so here we get Doc finally as a male Gokai Yellow, and yeah, they're the way he transforms is also a fun throwback to episode 16. I don't know if you guys remember, but he kind of does the same thing where he transforms with his mouth. Although, if I remember right, he transformed with the mobilet in his mouth and not the Ranger key. But this time he transforms with the Ranger key in his mouth. So yeah, okay. So, fun thing near the end when all the Gokaigers get together, they do show up in all of their classic get-ups, including Guy. So everything, even the funky socks. I mean, it's updated just a little bit, but it's essentially the same costumes. So, and another cool update that we get. So when the Gokaigers do a Gokai change, 3 X's and a V, which stands for 35, comes out of the mobilets and comes back onto them, which form the suits. But those XXXV letters are updated, and they're no longer just basic Arial bold. They're now basically stylized pirate font, which is really cool. Now, they do the standard Gokaiger roll call, but this time helmetless, and the helmets don't appear until everyone is done. And I like Don's one because it's, he has that funny body wipe, but now it's kind of like a really, confident chest wipe that he does, which I like. I like that it's just slight, change there. Now the battle is really, really epic, and we see that the Gokai Galleon soul turned into a key, so there's no more Gokai Galleon. So again, spoiler, but of course if you're watching this, you've already seen the raw. The Gokai Galleon has turned into the Gokai Galleon soul basically lent itself to Joe. And the soul, which turned into an Energem, kidding, no, just a gem, eventually became the Gokai Galleon key. And the Gokai Galleon key, Joe used it in the mobilets, and it basically provided all of them weapons. So it's basically both a section of the Gokaio and a callback to their individual weapon preferences. So for Marvelous, since he's the leader, he gets the center armor, and as the leader, he has the Galleon's bowsprit. I hope I pronounced that right. Now Joe's weapon is a callback to when he used 5 sabers at once, And Ahim and Lucas are both leg cannons, but again, with respect to how they prefer to use their weapons. So Ahim likes to shoot things with her guns. So hers is actual cannonballs, while Lucas is 5 sabers. Now, for Doc, of course, he gets his own, which is basically a 2-barreled cannon because he likes to use 2 flintlocks. That's his fighting style. So all of that pretty much combines onto Marvelous, and he's able to use the cross armor in order to execute the final attack, which is super awesome. Now, the mid-credits cuts have some scenes showing Joe and Marvelous buddying up with Newano, Doc and Luca in her vlogger outfit, Takamichi offering Ahim flowers, which is somehow not as creepy as when Canelo does it. Gaia Nakaranger by the Ranger key contraption, which is actually showing the Go-Go 5 to the Shinkenger side. And yeah, the thing is, we of course get the Super Sentai Hero Getter version 2021, which is awesome. Now, let me talk about the stuff that I wish happened. One, I wish there was more 6th Ranger representation. Guy was there, but there wasn't a lot of 6th Ranger representation on the side of Guy, and even his final wave attack did not feature any 6th Rangers. He did not use any 6th Rangers. Only Marvelous fought a couple of 6th Rangers, and the 6th Rangers he fought admittedly were fun, and you know, they were special. Oh, and wait, what am I talking about? Shurikenger was there, right in the beginning with King Ranger and Shinken Gold, which we don't even know how they came about because we don't know how the contraption produced them. But you know, I'm okay with that. I get that they need to make it look cohesive and whatever. It's just that I wish there was something more Guy related, especially with the newer 6th Rangers. I know just recently I was able to confirm that Ho Soldier in an interview with Keisuke Minami, we confirmed with him that he is the 6th Ranger of Q Ranger. It would have been nice to see some kind of acknowledgement of that on screen. We kind of rely on Guy and Gokaiger for that sort of thing now that the series has ended for now that some of the series didn't really acknowledge theirs outright. So it would have been nice. But that's just a small thing. Now on to I don't really have complaints about the story. I love the story, to be honest. I enjoyed it. It was very much like a will they or won't they stick together in the end. Although, of course they're gonna come together, but we don't know what's going on. And although it's been done, I think not everybody has seen Superhero Tyson anyway. So this is fine. I'm okay with it, even if it's kind of a retread. There is one big thing that I wish happened, which is the Super Sentai Hero Getter. I wish it wasn't just, overlaid on credits with scenes from the... It was nice, seeing scenes from the series, but what I think everyone wanted, and I know I'm kind of speaking for everyone here, and I don't really have the right to do that, I'm just really assuming, is for an updated version of Super Sentai Hero Getter with actual footage of the Rangers transforming. I wish that was a thing. Oh! Couple of errors that I kind of noticed. So, there are Gokai changes, of course, in the movie. Ahim is able to turn into Lupin Red and Kirame Red and Ryusou Red. 2 of the costumes, for some reason, everything below, stuff below the belt, the skirts aren't right. So you'll see what I mean when you do a side-by-side comparison. Marvelous was able to turn into Shishi Red. And he also turned into... Who did he turn into? My brain is blanking on me. Zio Eagle and Patron 1. Go. There you go. That's what he turned into. So the Patron 1 Go plus Lupin Red partnership was fun to watch. It's always fun to see Marvelous and Ahim teaming up. It would have been kind of nice to see other Gokai changes because I feel like we're here for that sort of thing, you know. But overall, I liked what we got. Anyway, so I'm gonna try to come back when the subs come out. I'm gonna see if I can add some stuff to whatever it is that we pointed out here. Till next time, this has been X from X's Toy Universe. Follow me on Twitter at X_Paco and Ranger Wiki. And until next time, peace out.